Okay, let's dive into something heavy today. And I mean, uh, literally heavy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just picture those places. You know, big industrial sites, plant floors, chemical refineries, manufacturing hubs,
hmm
where moving massive materials isn't just routine, it's critical.
And dangerous if things go wrong.
Exactly. These are spots where, equipment failure, a dropped load, the consequences can be just devastating. Reliability and safety aren't nice to haves.
No, they're the absolute bedrock, the core requirement.
And that's precisely what we're digging into today. We're working with your source material, these documents you send over about state industrial hoists, and uh, a key supplier, PE-Energy.
Right.
So our mission here is to really unpack these sources, pull out the key insights, and help you get a quick, solid handle on what makes this equipment special and why this particular supplier relationship is, well, highlighted so much.
We've got specifics on the hoist themselves, and then there's this focus on PE Energy's role, getting the gear in place, keeping it running.
Yeah, in the sources, they really lean on phrases like German engineering, and they call the PE-Energy partnership an industrial supply game changer.
Which always makes you ask.
Right.
Yeah.
What does that actually translate to when you're lifting, say, steel beams day after day or working in potentially explosive areas?
Well, according to these documents, it really boils down to a relentless focus on engineering risk out and building reliability in, like right from the start.
Huh.
It's about designing equipment where that precision we talk about isn't just luck, it's baked in.
So let's start with the main piece of equipment they focus on,
Mm,
the Stay SH wire rope hoist.
yeah.
The materials say it's globally recognized. What are the key things about its design that jump out from the sources?
The big points are its compact design, which is often important for fitting into existing structures, its robust construction built tough, and what the sources repeatedly call outstanding reliability.
Hmm.
And a really key aspect mentioned is its modular nature. It's designed specifically, they say, for high-duty cycles.
Okay, high-duty cycles. For someone maybe not living and breathing hoist specifications, what does that really signal about how it's built to work?
It basically means it's engineered for constant, heavy, demanding work, not just lifting something occasionally. It's designed to keep going reliably, shift after shift, year after year, under serious load and a lot of repetitive stress.
Okay.
And that robustness, it directly links to performance benefits. The sources talk about precise and clean lifts.
Which isn't just marketing speak.
Apparently not. They frame it as the direct result of that engineering focus, smooth, repeatable movements, much fewer load swings. It essentially tries to remove the guesswork.
So less human variability, less risk.
Exactly. Takes a lot of that out of critical lifts.
So running an operation, these design choices, they mean fewer headaches, less breaking down, less time fixing things,
Yeah.
a safer workplace overall.
Precisely. The sources are explicit about connecting this to the operational benefits. Less downtime, lower repair bills, and critically, a better safety record because you're minimizing accident potential.
Yeah.
And they list a whole range of industries, using them oil and gas, manufacturing, utilities, heavy industry. It's positioned as the gear you choose when, and this is a direct quote from the material, you can't afford to drop the ball or the load.
That makes total sense for, let's say, standard heavy industrial settings.
Yeah.
But what about those really challenging spots? Paint shops with thick fumes, chemical plants with explosive atmospheres, places where just one spark could be.
Catastrophic. Yeah.
The sources make a specific point about STAHL covering this too.
Yeah, and this is where the STAHL SHXY rope hoist comes into the picture. It's presented as absolutely critical in the material. This isn't just like a slightly tweaked version. It's engineered from the core specifically for explosion protection. The sources really position it as having some of the safest available tech for these hazardous locations.
And they highlighted something specific about STAHL's approach here, didn't they? Something about labels.
Yes, that stood out. They emphasize that STAHL crane systems are global specialists in this explosion protection technology. And they specifically say STAHL is not just another label swapper.
Okay, what's the implication there?
It suggests a really deep fundamental expertise. It means every single component, down to the smallest part, is purposefully designed and built with safety in hazardous zones as the primary driver. It's not, an add-on feature or an afterthought.
And that kind of purpose-built design, that helps meet those really strict safety rules.
Absolutely. The sources highlight compliance with key international and U.S. standards. ATEX, IESEX, and OSHA are mentioned specifically.
Those acronyms pop up a lot in safety discussions.
They do, and they represent really rigorous testing and certification, ensuring the equipment is safe to operate where explosions are a risk. It's vital for protecting people and the facility. And in many industries, meeting these isn't just good practice, it's a legal must-have.
Okay. And these hazardous areas, they're not just explosive, right? They can be corrosive or maybe operate in really extreme temperatures. How does the SHX handle that?
The sources mention its resilience. They state it's built to withstand corrosive atmospheres, extreme hot or cold, and air that might be full of contaminants. So it's designed to keep working safely even when the environment itself is pretty hostile.
And what about keeping it running? Maintenance on complex, safety-critical gear like this, especially ensuring it stays compliant, that can be a big operational burden.
The material does touch on that. It mentions things like accessible service points and a modular assembly.
Okay.
The idea seems to be making maintenance quicker and hopefully less costly. Making those essential compliance checks more like routine tasks, not massive shutdowns just to access a component. It simplifies keeping up with those strict safety regs.
So the real insight here for those hazardous environments is that STAHL isn't just offering a hoist. It's more like a deeply engineered safety system that happens to lift things.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
It's backed by very specific expertise and those crucial certifications.
Exactly. It's about embedding confidence and compliance right into the lifting process itself, especially in the toughest conditions. Protecting people, assets, and, your ability to just operate without constantly worrying about catastrophic failures or regulatory fines.
Okay, so we've got the engineering side covered, the standard robust SH hoist, and then the specialized SHX for the hazardous zones. Now, how do companies actually get these solutions? How do they implement them? This seems to be where PE-Energy steps in, and your sources spend a lot of time on their role.
Right. The material positions PE-Energy as the go-to source for STAHL. They talk about their exceptional range and unmatched expertise in industrial supply. But it really seems to be about what they do beyond just having the parts on a shelf.
And the sources list out a whole bunch of services, don't they? It sounds like much more than just taking an order.
Oh, absolutely. The material details how PE-Energy actually collaborates on customized lifting solutions. They leverage that modular STAHL design to tailor systems precisely to what an operation actually needs.
So not just selling you a standard box.
No, helping configure the right solution for the job.
And do they help with that compliance stuff we were just talking about? That seems critical.
Yes, that's definitely highlighted as a key service. Assisting with regulatory compliance, providing detailed guidance, documentation. It's crucial when you're dealing with equipment for hazardous areas or just meeting high safety standards anywhere.
Makes sense.
They also offer comprehensive maintenance services, preventive care, repairs, and importantly, access to genuine STAHL replacement parts. That's key for maintaining the original safety integrity.
So they help select it, set it up right, keep it compliant, and keep it running. Is there more?
Training is mentioned too. Comprehensive sessions for the teams using the equipment, focusing on safe and efficient operation, and practical support like on-site consultations and product demos, bringing the expertise and even the gear itself right to the facility.
It really does sound more like a partnership than just a vendor-customer thing.
Yeah.
What about actually buying the equipment, the procurement side? The sources use some pretty strong language there, like that game-changer phrase.
They did. And this seems to be where that idea really takes shape. The sources talk about procurement advantages, things like competitive wholesale pricing, bulk options.
Okay.
They note PE-Energy's ability to work manufacture direct and buy in volume, which, the material claims, results in savings they can pass on.
So less friction in the supply chain, potentially better costs. What about speed? Time is money, especially when you need equipment.
The material actually claims "her of service speed." That's the phrase they use, promising fast quotes, fast shipping.
Huh. Bold claim.
It is. They also emphasize their role as a technical guide, using their product knowledge to help customers make the right choices. And they pitch this idea of one-stop sourcing.
Meaning
You could bundle your STAHL order with equipment from other brands they carry, Shawbox, Chester, coughing are mentioned, simplifying the whole logistics and invoicing process.
Right, one purchase order, one shipment potentially. Streamlining things.
That seems to be the angle.
Yeah.
So simplifying the buying, adding the technical backup, offering competitive pricing, that's the picture the sources paint.
And standard stuff too, presumably.
Right.
Warranty support.
Yeah, they mention warranty support, after-sale service, rapid delivery options, all aimed at making the supply chain side as reliable and efficient as the STAHL equipment itself is meant to be.
Okay, let's bring this back to you, the listener. Maybe you're the person who has to make these critical buying decisions, or you oversee plant safety or reliability. How does this combination, STAHL Engineering, PE-Energy Service, actually impact your work according to these sources?
Well, the core message seems to be that this partnership is really designed to deliver operational efficiency, ensure you're meeting legal requirements, and ultimately protect the company's reputation.
Okay.
It's framed as choosing proven solutions that prioritize, above all, quality, safety, and maximizing uptime.
And by doing that,
By doing that, the sources suggest you're setting yourself up to avoid the major headaches of using subpar gear. You potentially cut down on costly downtime, the kind that lets your competitors pull ahead. You reduce those unexpected painful repair bills. And frankly, you keep the safety inspectors and regulatory bodies happy.
which is always good.
Always. The material even touches on maybe hitting environmental goals through things like eco-friendly sourcing or choosing energy-efficient options where available.
It really sounds like they're positioning it as a strategic move for long-term value, not just buying a piece of machinery. Investing in reliability up front to dodge huge costs and risks later.
Exactly. It's about buying, as the sources put it, serious safety, not Band-Aids.
Okay, so let's pull these main threads together from your source material. We've seen how STAHL's basic SH hoists are built for fundamental reliability and precision in standard industrial lifting, designed for those high-duty cycles, smooth operation.
Right, the workhorse model.
Then we highlighted the critical, life-saving, purpose-built engineering in the STAHL SHX hoists, specifically for hazardous environments, meeting those crucial global safety standards like ATEX, IESEX, and OSHA.
The specialized safety system.
And finally, we've unpacked how PE-Energy, according to these documents, functions as this comprehensive partner, providing expertise, tailored solutions, support across the entire life cycle from initial consultation right through to maintenance, plus those streamlined supply chain benefits.
All aimed at making sure those high-quality STAHL solutions actually get implemented effectively and stay effective.
Yeah, it seems to be about appreciating both the engineering in the product and the value you get from a supplier relationship that really supports the whole operational picture, especially when safety and reliability stakes are incredibly high. Hopefully, this deep dive into your sources has given you a much clearer, more focused understanding of the core messages about STAHL and PE-Energy presented in them.
Yeah, connecting the dots between the tech and the support system.
And that actually brings us to a final thought to maybe chew on. Building on how heavily these sources emphasize reliability and especially explosion protection in these high-risk settings.
Okay.
If prioritizing that absolute proven safety and uptime is considered this critical, it really makes you wonder how much hidden cost, both in potential accidents and lost productivity, is actually embedded in equipment choices or maybe supply chain choices that don't put this kind of inherent safety and long-term reliability right at the very top of the list.